Homework chapter 9.2b. For number 1, you're going to add 64. X squared equals 64. Take the square root on both sides. You're going to get x equals plus or minus 8. For number 2, add 18 on both sides. X squared equals 18. And square root of x squared is plus or minus 18. Break the 18 as 9 times 2. That will give you x equals plus or minus 3 square root 2. For number 3, add 11. X squared equals 0. Take the square root. You're going to get x equals plus or minus 0. But you don't have to write plus or minus 0. Just 0 is your answer. Number 4, divide with 3. X squared equals 25. And x would be plus or minus square root 25. X equals plus or minus 5 is your answer. Divide with 2. I'll always isolate the x square. X squared is 2 and x would be plus or minus square root 2 after you square root on both sides. For number 6, you're going to take square root on both sides to get rid of the square. Square and square root cancel. X minus 1 equals plus or minus 2. When you add 1 on both sides, you're going to get x equals plus 1 plus or minus 2. So one time you have x equals 1 plus 2 equals 3. And x equals 1 minus 2, that is negative 1. So x equals 3 and x equals negative 1 is your answer. There are 2 answers for that for number 6. For level 2, question number 7, you're going to add 45 on both sides. And then you're going to have 5x squared equals 45. Divide 5 on both sides. X squared equals 9. And when you take square root, x equals plus or minus 3. So when you add 8 on both sides, you got 2x squared equals 8. Divide with 2, you got x squared equals 4. To remove the square from the top, because you want x by itself, you're going to take square root on both sides, and that becomes plus or minus square root 4. Square and square root cancel. X equals plus or minus 2. Plus 100 on both sides. X squared equal 100. Take square root on both sides. X equals plus or minus 10. When I'm using plus or minus, please understand there are 2 answers. One is 3, another one is negative 3. In this case, x is 2 and x is negative 2. X is 10 and x is negative 10. For number 10, you're going to take square root on both sides. And this is going to be square root of 0. Square and square root cancel. X plus 0 equals x plus 6 equals 0. This time I did not write any plus or minus 0 because 0 doesn't have a sign, so it means that x plus 6 equals 0. When you solve for x, you're going to subtract 6 on both sides. X equals negative 6. Take square root on both sides. And this time you have a plus or minus 49. you're going to get x minus 4 equals plus or minus 7. When you add 4 on both sides, you're going to get 4 plus or minus 7. It means you have two equations. One is 4 plus 7 and other one is 4 minus 7. And two answers, which is 11 and negative 3. For number 12, you're going to isolate the square bracket. It means you're dividing with negative 2. X minus 7 square is 0. Anything multiplied, anything divided by 0 will become 0 at the end. Then you're going to take a square root on each side. It just remains 0. X minus 7 is 0. And add 7 on both sides, x equals 7. For number 13, you take the square root. It becomes x plus 2 plus or minus 3. So 3 and negative 3. X equals 1 and x equals negative 5. When you take square root on both sides, you got this is equal to plus or minus 11. One time it's 11 and one time negative 5. Plus 5 and divide with 4. You got here 4x equals 16 and 4x equals 6, negative 6, and you got x equals 4 from here when you divide with 4, and you're going to get x equals negative 3 over 2 when you divide with 4. Divide 3, x squared plus equals 8. When you take the square root on both sides, you got x plus 1 equals plus or minus 2 square root 2. Subtract 1 is negative 1, 2 square root 2. Divide 6, you got x plus 7 square equals 20. When you take square root, it becomes plus or minus 4 square root 5. Negative 7 on both sides. X equals negative 7 plus or minus 4 square root 5.